You don't want to see one of these like Russian suckers just be like, oh, they took down my friends in Afghanistan, no. For like the third time.
Is he still alive?
Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to the War Thunder official channel. My name is Marcus Boone. I'm joined here by the lovely Tom, aka Oxy, and today we are going to be presenting some of the content in the new update coming soon to War Thunder called Sons of Attila. We have a bunch of stuff to show you today, including but not limited to a whole new Hungarian line of ground vehicles, improvements to radar warning receivers, new vehicles, new mechanics, new maps, and all that good stuff.
Hell yeah.
So let's get right into it without further ado. This time we're going to be doing it a little bit
volume
different.
okay, by the way,
Usually we start
guys?
with the US and work our way down. This time around, let's start with the end of the tech trees with Israel.
Yeah, Chaparral. I think that's right. I googled how to pronounce it, but it wasn't concise. Anyway, it's nice because Israel finally has a nice top-tier anti-air that works pretty well. So, I like the platform of this, I must say. It's very utility vehicle-esque. And fires the Sidewinders.
It's an M113.
Cool. This version has 3 types. Currently, right now, if you flick between them, the model doesn't change, so this is not exactly what's being used currently. You do have 3 types. The first type is rear aspect only. And the rest are all aspect. The last one is meant to be the type of stinger, I believe. And we can also show you our favorite part of the vehicle.
That's what we like.
It's just the potential, because there's just 4 friends in the front.
You will never be lonely playing this.
You'll never be lonely. There's so much potential with this. Look at these 4 friends hanging out, just having a great time. What could be better than that? And so, functions pretty much as you would expect. Get 4 of them. The reload's pretty long. I think it's like 17 seconds roughly on like a general crew. As you'd expect. Decently mobile, not that it really matters much.
I would like a radar or a track or anything on this, but I'll take it.
Came of it.
You know,
but yeah, you can't fire them against
Players
anything else.
can be choosers, but these map figures are a joke, and they keep trying to oversell them.
Nice
did it have scouting? Did anyone see?
That's
I'm guessing it must, right?
That's my favorite thing.
It probably will. It probably will. Even if it's not now, it probably will.
Yeah, we can show you the American version a bit later. Slightly different, but functionally pretty much the same. But we'll show you a bit later on.
Alright, that is the Chaparral for the Israeli.
I love how they're all just staring into the sky.
We also have this, the Barak 2. It is a version of the F-16, which you may notice is a twin-seater version. And I'm sorry, I will ruin this plane for you for a second here. Notice how the windows aren't tinted equally.
You spoiled it for me when you showed me that earlier.
See that again.
I was so miserable. Like, I was having a good time enjoying what the plane looked like, but that just... I can't look at it again. I don't know what to say.
You can have a look at the
It's fine, you can just look at all of the American ones.
Substantially different. There's a noticeable spine here that is not present on the regular F-16s. It is a twin-seater, which also means you have access to some advanced ground weaponry. Yes, this is both great at air-to-air combat, although it doesn't have radar missiles, only up to the AIM-9L. With the possibility of being able to add the Python 4 sometime in the future. We haven't quite decided on that just yet. But you can bring laser-guided bombs. The Paveway series, Paveway 1, Paveway 2, Paveway 3. In fact, with this loadout I have over here for a ground attack, you can have a total of 8 laser-guided bombs.
Oh, great.
Together, also
with the
thermal air-to-air missiles, which is pretty good. Let's go. This gets access to the new lightning pod, which does have thermal vision, which makes it easy to acquire targets in ARB and in ground RB as well. And you may have seen from the Russian dev stream, or for example from the trailer, that we have also some interesting new things in the feature department. So let's quickly take this out into a test flight, and I want to show you what we have in store. Oh, one thing to note, by the way, this F-16 has a total of 200 countermeasures, which is quite a lot.
Immense. Now, I have every faith that everything will work perfectly, as it always does. With every single dev stream.
Notice on the left side, the RWR. You are actually seeing exactly what is locking onto us. We are massively expanding the capabilities of RWR systems in the game, and in fact, it's fine. In fact, specifying them quite a bit. So low tier RWRs are not going to have quite as many features, but top tier stuff like this F-16 is going to have the ability to distinguish between different signatures of radar locking to give you an indication of what exactly is actually locking onto you. Like in this case, there's this 2S6 that is on the ground there, and it's actually giving me the name of the vehicle locking onto me, which can be a very, very useful thing. And you may also
I wonder how that's gonna fit. Like that's the only thing I'm interested in. That's gonna look so jumbled. Like if you're like locked multiple times.
We have some new voice lines as well. I don't think I can say the actual nickname on stream.
It kind of depends on the name of the thing.
Beautiful Betty.
Yeah,
yes.
Damn right.
She will be your companion in Jets. The Russians also have their own version called Rita, I believe they call it, which is essentially the computer of the aircraft, telling you various things verbally, so you don't have to look at the instruments and all the good stuff. Like when you are going over G, when you deploy your air brake, it will warn you that your air brake is on. It will warn you when you are overspeeding for your gear. It may even warn you of incoming missiles, although that may not be quite working just yet. All in all, it is a huge upgrade to both immersion, as real planes do have this feature and this capability, as well as utility, so you don't have to constantly be looking at every single different kind of screen to be able to know what your aircraft is doing. This can be a huge help in a dogfight. Now, in the terms of the RWR warning systems, as I mentioned, we now have the ability on top-tier jets of distinguishing exactly what is locking onto us. To a certain limit, of course, it is able to distinguish between certain pre-programmed frequencies and match that with a list of frequencies that are emitted by various vehicles in the game and also vehicles that are not yet in the game.
It's gonna be so
it can also on the F-16 actually distinguish the radio
all this stuff is all gonna work. Once again, it's just making sound vehicles more powerful compared to
the Tor, which means that even if you are being locked by a SBA in Grand Prix, for example, which is not using its radar, so you don't get a radar lock, it's using its IRST system. If it launches the missile, you will still get warned, which previously you were not. Which means you have a lot more awareness. And yeah, this thing is going to be quite good at both air-to-air. Not quite the best, given that you don't have radar missiles, sadly. But you have a big suite of IR missiles and, of course, ground ordnance as well. And this way I can look forward to this very soon.
Pretty nice.
Okay, let's move on to Sweden.
More, let's say, Andy vehicles. I really like this. This has been in the files for quite a while. This is the PVKV. Very nice. And also this makes the 3.7 lineup for Sweden
4-second reload
than it already was. You have the Sherman, the T-34, Panzer IV, you have the Saab as well. So many options.
No ways
and 57mm guns, I'd say they're kind of my favorites overall. I really just like them a lot. And this one is really good. This has the same gun as the
it's called Saber.
tank destroyer version.
It has the same as well.
4 seconds on each crew. Pretty good. So the APHE is really nice, and also Sabo, quite a low caliber Sabo, but still works pretty well against the armor that you'll meet most of the time.
Change that they did for the PVKV3 that has also a 57, a shorter 57 of course, but that one went from 2.7 to 3.3.
Tank destroyery though, in that the turret traverse is really low. This is on an ace crew and it's a 4.5, so it's really limited. Gun depression is standard for Sweden, it's really good, 14.
It is
so that's great. You can play in lots of areas that other tanks can't play, which is great for positioning. But armor pretty low. It's really like a tank destroyer, medium tank kind of thing going on.
You're basically just gonna have to play it. If
really
you
nice. Got a great gun. Love the gun. It's just a nice addition to the lineup. Sabo also makes it.
I thought that they were gonna classify this one as a light tank.
Lots of options. Also cool.
No, because the medium
not the only
medium,
of course. This is the one I don't have on the account, but I can show you here and also test drive it as well.
Vidar.
This is the Vidar or Vidar. I think if you hover over it, it kind of gives you a breakdown of the name, which I find funny. Versatile indirect artillery, which is also great. I like that. 7.7 is kind of a bit safe for this thing, I think. You have thermals, laser rangefinder, which laser rangefinder for something like launching HE, kind of mental. So this is going to be great mobility as well, which we can show you.
Yeah, should be pretty
is
good.
deceptively good. Like usually these kinds of vehicles are kind of slow. Turret traverse not very quick. But in terms of getting around, for the kind of vehicle that it is,
that's a really fancy way to put
decently effective. The reverse as well.
If you want that in real person's words, that means you have to play it in a specific way in order for it to be okay.
Click on something.
And since, you know, most people who either people like this or, you know,
some new effects.
People who make content around it usually play it in that way.
The effect comes out.
Don't let people bullshit you that this thing is gonna be like, wow, so powerful. Like, you're gonna get some fun moments in it, it's gonna be decent, more decent than other artilleries, but it's not gonna be any game changer.
It's not the right button.
Did you see that?
Using the old
didn't explode on the Yag.
I can maybe show it off for you.
Go for it.
Give me a second.
It has smoke.
Yeah, we have some new effects for overheating of machine guns and also autocannons. We can show that later on with a special Hungarian vehicle, perhaps. So, if you fire your top machine gun for long enough, the barrel will start heating up and start glowing red. Look at that.
Yeah, it happens a bit too quick, but I mean, for like having a game with a cool effect in it, makes sense.
It is a bit exaggerated for effect, I would say.
Yeah, but it's nice. Got some steam.
It looked good on stuff like BTRs and BMPs and Bradleys and stuff.
It's kind of happening in real life, man.
It's
Quite
nice.
It's kind of happening in real life.
Can you quickly show the stats?
Now they just need to bring in barrel, what is it? Barrel
Deformation.
Barrel deformation.
So you have different types of HEs
to annoy
everyone. Rarely use too much of. So you have the standard one, and then the upgraded one here, which is a much higher velocity as well as having more filler, which is pretty good. Like 61 mil can get you through basically anything. Like with a laser as well. Like if you have a tank in the open, you can shoot at the drive wheel and it will.
No, you can't go through everything.
So really effective. You have the proximity as well, which is the same.
You can't go through
as
everything with
this one in
60
terms of the
millimeters
damage.
of pen.
So yeah, for 7.7,
there are many heavy tanks in this VR that you can't.
I can imagine it probably going
such
to
as the IS-4M.
Personally, I mean. Being able to have that level of accuracy with that kind of killing power. Like the main difficulty with those kinds of tanks is landing the shot right. And if you can land the shot kind of perfectly every time, so, you can kill anything.
So you can watch him in high def while you die.
Engage him so far away.
Remember the
thermals as well.
Was made to separate
really,
World War
really
II from the Cold War.
Be...
Why is this 2010 beagles on my match?
Really how powerful it is also the combination of both the muzzle velocity of the gun at over 930 meters per second. That is very quick, especially for a shell this large, and the laser rangefinder. And all that with a 7.5 second autoloader as well.
That's pretty nuts.
Although, can you show the X-ray?
7.5 autoloader, that would be a bit quicker, but
you do, of course, have that issue of rather big ammo in the back.
But it's some chunky ammo.
How about the issue of absolutely no armor?
Show predictably is, you know, you have.
How about only 20 millimeters of armor?
Okay, again, it's very poorly placed shots and machine guns and that kind of thing. You can expect, really. Next we have France, I believe.
I like this boy.
I like this boy. I like things that look square, basically. I'm very simple like that.
Yeah, even more so when you give them for free, fully spare with an ace screw.
That's very objective. Yeah, they're pretty fun. Yeah, they're pretty enjoyable.
This fires
when you don't have to grind them. You know,
missiles, which
they're really nice to look at in the hangar. Not very nice to play, but you know.
They're pretty okay. Like they do decent damage. Like I've never had too much of a
when you play like once in a Thomas stream,
but as this is of course like on a tank destroyer, like turretless setup. You can't really flick the ATGM around and aim outside of your view, which can be a bit tricky.
Come people take this clown
seriously. Most useful in that regard.
We don't have to sell everything as like the god vehicle. Like just say that just say the classic thing that if you don't want to like say it's bad, just be like this vehicle is going to be very situational. People are going to enjoy it because of its specific playstyle, and it's nice that it has a 20mm to defend itself, unlike other vehicles similar to it.
Thank you. It's a long-range sniper, man. It's a long-range sniper.
Yeah, it's going
to be to oversell it. Like it's just a box with a shit gun.
I would say comfortably it's good enough to get you where you need to go with it, but not really excellent. You can't really use a vehicle like this aggressively.
There's so many vehicles which are exactly like this that have gone massively down in VR. By the way.
Like
every time you hear those
overwhelmingly
those phrases,
speedy thing in the world,
because the vehicle is bad and they're trying to sell it to you.
Yes,
which is also it makes it just better instantly.
If anybody says a vehicle is situationally good,
it's situational. It's a long-range sniper. It's all of this crap, methodical gameplay.
This is going to be mostly the same.
That just means that all the other vehicles that they're not saying that about, you don't have to do any of that. So they're a lot better.
Against chemical munitions from the sides. Here on the side skirts,
Fat Leclerc,
armor and some screens on the back as well. In fact, the back looks very, very aggressive.
Let's go.
It does. The back does look aggressive.
I love it how it's
representation. Let's go.
I love it when it comes to stat card, the 12.7 is on the top, showing that it's the true upgrade.
Your thermal gun review and laser rangefinder.
You missed the coaxial, that's the trade-off.
The stats of the gun. You have a 6-second autoloader.
So yeah, basically you got Tez with this vehicle, but you know what? It makes the other clerks cheaper to research, so who cares?
Let's have a quick look.
Yeah, but you still have the functional engine, and that's probably not final, but it's only 56 tons.
Hey guys, against the round that nobody uses, the armor is really good. Just remember that. Just remember. No, he's using heat. He's using heat effects. Just remember, you know, the round that everybody uses at top tier, this armor is really good.
Okay.
Actually,
are you going to show the... Oh, you're not going to show the other one? Oh.
56.2 tons.
No way.
This version, the previous one is also the same, so
this is the problem when you have people who get paid for this shit.
It's bullshit.
You don't have to.
Just show what the vehicles have.
Hungry, and this is... I love this. It's friend shaped.
Somebody told them that they have to sell this shit.
I love this.
Like,
this is
come
really
on,
good
you don't have to.
I'm kind of nuts with this thing. I think it's like a little AT rifle you have in there, effectively.
Pretty cool vehicle.
It's, you know, modest performance for that kind of thing. But you've got decent mobility. It's a nice little unique armored car to start out with. I really do like this. Something for you as well.
35mm.
I will skip through some of the stuff that's in other trees, but if we take a look at, you know, I like skin.
Oh wow, this is a pretty good one.
The new contender.
Oh, that is a watermelon.
The new watermelon contender arrives.
Okay, 10 out of 10 up.
That's the first thing I thought of when I looked at it. I love it.
I didn't even realize that.
I know. See, like, skins are good. You need to get camos. It's great. Anyway, let's have a look at these properly. So we have the Tehran one, which you're probably familiar with the design.
I'm looking forward to the
Tehran's
and the Zerinias, actually.
Platform they have.
Should be
fun. We have the premium Tehran 2.
They look really nice.
Which has basically exactly the same part from the gun.
I'm just happy they're here, so,
I don't think it has the shoulder stabilizer.
I can basically say I told you so for 2 years.
It's okay for the kind of cannon it is.
Probably not going to use that much APHE,
pretty fine. It's very decently
and also
agile
people
as
that
well,
are really trying to oversell this thing are
great.
gonna finally shut the fuck up.
So this one, I really like.
These machines are gonna be insane. Like, I don't think so, man. They're gonna be pretty...
They're gonna be pretty average.
They're gonna be pretty...
They'll be fun to play.
I don't know, but I do know that there's a massive respawn, because that angle plate is not very thick.
Yeah, that's very, very weak. Pretty much anything
that's a big
is going to get through that.
That's a big
Maybe the fuse is not going to go off properly, but anyway, it's pretty weak. But this has an amazing gun, the 3.7. It's the I think it's like the
analog 75, isn't it? It's the one in the
I think so,
it's the one on the
Sergi. Pretty nice. It's like a Panzer IV kind of
that
type
I think
vehicle.
It has the same values as the
75mm.
Panzer IV F2s are 3.3 right nowadays.
The side armor and how it normalizes and how flat it is, it's not going to do too great in terms of protection.
It is a very good gun.
The gun's great.
But you can
mobility's pretty workable. It's going to be a nice tank to have.
Mobias with the same gun.
Pretty nice. We have the
you have the strength and the weaknesses.
Exactly. You have the one in the game currently, which has again the same gun as the
105 donkey time.
But this is the 105 howitzer version. The armor's pretty okay for 2.7, 75, and you've got the tracks as well.
Not really, no.
Not
if it got the same armor as the Orange, not really. Like, no.
And I believe it's
no.
Same.
I play the Syringe quite consistently.
It's very, very similar. So
the tracks might randomly troll armor, the troll rounds on the front.
Deceptively
good.
Like,
yeah, it's
that's the thing that makes that one stuff pretty good.
Nice. We do also have some other vehicles as well. The BTR. Shilka, T-72, and the Leopard as well, which gives Italy, you know, some more ability to make better lineups and that kind of thing, which is really important. Obviously, those vehicles to some people may not be the most interesting because there are in other trees, but you know, it lets you make a more powerful lineup, which
I would say Italy is a good contender
that is
for
true.
this,
At least something that makes more sense.
A bit sparse, especially at
absolutely, yeah. Like they did
Would
not
you prefer
have
this or an independent
huge amount of versatility,
or just
especially
not
around
existing?
Like, the end of
or just nothing.
Yeah, or just nothing. Those are your three options.
Really
this is the best option.
And they're getting that now, which is nice. We do also have the 2S1, which is predominantly in the Russian tree, but there's this Hungarian version as well. I thought it was amphibious, but it's not. But I do like how long it is.
Amphibious. I see what you mean.
I like how long
it's pretty good. I think that Katya has way more than that.
It does.
Is it some kind of assisted load?
Dark green. I like that.
It's got 4 crews,
you are
three on the
mostly going to be using HE. I think you do have the heat test, but like you don't really need it. It lacks the killing power a lot of the time. It's a bit more reliable in the sense that if you hit something anywhere, you will do damage to it. But if you want killing power and one-shot potential, you want to use the HE.
It's surprisingly good explosive power for 122mm.
Yeah, it feels like a 155 or like a 152. It's really nice. Not not the most filler, but like in terms of the penetration you can achieve, it's pretty good.
Just keep giving these things.
Yeah, nice little vehicle.
Just keep giving these things VTs so you can just shoot above
nice.
vehicles.
I don't think Italy really had many high caliber.
I don't care about any of those
slingers
stuff.
like that. So
That's how you actually like do damage with these things.
Like, once again, they're never gonna be like game-changing vehicles. You're not gonna see what Stika taking over games.
They're just nice additions
the anti-airs are in here with the
play for a
anti-air line
bit
standard.
and have a bit of fun.
So here they all are. Maybe we'll see some more stuff in the future, like they use some more
very nice
German vehicles, maybe down the line. But right now, this is the what we've got. There's also a pretty cool vehicle at the end of the line.
There is indeed. We're going to hide our screens here for a little second because we are going to set something up.
It's the fucking links just show it on us.
These vehicles are not the only thing that Hungary is getting, or rather Italy is getting this update. We
it
also
K51?
have a whole
31.
I keep saying 51's the new
the big one
developed
from
by
now.
Rheinmetall. It's actually a very, very recent vehicle. A very, very advanced IFV, which has a lot of features and systems which can help you out in dominating the battlefield, including fire and forget ATGMs. Yes. But something else that we also want to show is this. This is one of the
This is
new
the
maps,
second
or,
vehicle.
Well,
the
not quite new.
41.
This was
There you go, the
map used
41.
in the Atomic Hearts event.
Not 31.
And will now be coming
This is
to
the
game
second
as a
vehicle
regular
for
tank
Italy,
map
like
as
it's
well.
fire and
Let's
forget
move
missiles,
on
by
the
the
C
way.
point.
American main, German mains
Now,
on suicide.
This has a bunch of stuff. You have
Big
a
surprise, nobody's giving a fuck about it, man. Like the Freccia people were gonna say that it was just gonna be a game changer. Everyone is gonna play Italy after the Freccia. Nobody gave a fuck about it. Like, hopefully with this one, maybe you can see a couple more.
You have access to
hopefully.
for the
This thing
gunner.
is huge.
I don't think I have a commando site here right now. You have a
Where is his
top-mounted
crew
50
located?
caliber
Is it the
machine
same as
gun
the
as
Puma?
well.
It
Very
looks like there's
cool.
guys
It's
in the
like
turret.
It's fired off so I can show
It's
off
like
the
Puma-esque.
effects
They're probably sitting like a bit
oh, going the wrong way.
like below the
Effects
turret.
of the overheating.
No,
of
there's
the
guys
barrel
in.
once again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah.
Look at that boy.
He won.
Bit zoomed in. I actually wonder if it's going to give off a glow in night games.
That's a good point. I really hope so. That'd be a sweet detail.
This is the Atomic Thunder map, eh? The
So
one
when
they
it comes
revealed
to
today.
mobility, we're currently in arcade mode for one very simple
Yeah, it's nice to
reason.
see it.
Over to my
Like,
right
it was
is
good.
Mr. Tom, and we want to show
It
off
looks
a
functional,
new
eh?
feature.
Now we're gonna have to see how it actually
So-
performs.
Yeah, it's Subverse 2.0.
You have now the ability
Kinda.
of shooting off
Kinda
decorations
combined with
off
all
of enemy
stuff.
tanks.
Abandoned factory
There we go.
looking
Which means no longer are bush monsters safe.
Damn
You
it.
can now MG them, you can fire them off.
Wonder if
Imagine
they'll
main gun.
bring back that
Yeah, like
dumbass
the effect of
bush
them kind
pack
of
that
falling
he's
off is
using.
probably going to be a bit more
remember that?
streamlined. Right now, they're just kind
yeah,
of like
the
doing
1.5
That's not a word, is it?
big
But you know what I
bushes.
mean. I
I
think
think
it's
that
a
they should have
kind of,
removed from
maneuver.
people for the longest time.
But yeah, it's nice. I think this has been something that has been requested for a very long time now. And
Do you have smoke grenades installed on your vehicle by
I
any
do.
chance?
They're on the
Yes, you do.
sides.
So not only can you shoot off decorations, you will also be able to detonate external smoke grenades on tanks. You will be able to do damage to external fuel tanks, which will leak burning
I wonder
fuel
if bombs
to the
and
ground and leave
rockets
a trail.
will get rid
And
of
even on
camouflage stuff.
aircraft, up until now, you were able to
It should be, right? Because they
detonate a
mentioned that it
bomb
could
only
also
if
with
it was already launched, so you could shoot it. You've seen probably clips
with
on
any kind of
Fanatical, how much
explosion, like
you can
damage
do
in
stuff
general.
like that.
Yeah.
Now you will also be able to shoot bombs whilst they are still attached to the aircraft, which can make for some
What?
very interesting
Oh.
gameplay there. Now,
They're weird.
if you fire anti-smoke grenades, you can detonate it. It doesn't always detonate.
What if
it
they're
can
not
either
armed?
detonate and envelop
Like, how-
the
how
enemy
does that-
in
how's
smoke,
that
which
gonna
can be a
work?
very useful trolling tactic for IFVs. Sometimes it will just destroy the munition, which means the enemy won't be able to use it anymore.
Yeah, if you like tap like a couple of shots into it, it should destroy it but not activate it. Like if it's a very light, you should see the little effect.
Oh no,
pop
it
up.
seemed very random when
I have
BVG
actually
was
tried
doing
all
it.
the missions myself, let's say
Yeah.
this that way.
Yeah, the new effect as well is
Well,
really
at
nice.
least on that one you're shooting
yeah,
with the main
so
gun,
it
right?
depends on the
I feel like maybe they're a
ammunition
bit
you're
too
using. It's
sensitive with the
very
machine
weak
guns.
round, you will just destroy
looks
them and they
nice.
won't like pop. But with
the
general like,
effects are
standard
amazing.
like
Yeah.
IFV,
Explosions and everything.
guns, they
Be
will
interested to
generally go
see
off.
how it
I
changes
can see some absolutely huge
gameplay.
trolling potential with this.
I feel like I'm not going to take
If it
smoke
does or
anymore
not. I
because
mean,
there's
it
just so
forces
much
people to
potential
push
for japing.
forward
Like, I don't-
instead of, you
I'm
know,
not
sometimes
sure
killing you.
it's going to be worth it.
Now we're going to try and also show off the fuel tank hit effects. Can you quickly show me in your X-ray where those are?
Yes,
Right on the front corner. Okay, let's hope I don't kill you here.
I believe. Should I face directly in front of you?
If I can go through, maybe.
No.
Oh, you can start
They
on
blocked the
fire, and
fuel.
if you drive around a bit, it doesn't leave a trail.
I wonder
not
if
sure
they're
this one's
actually
ready
gonna
yet.
It
gonna like
quite entirely ready yet.
If they're gonna do anything with fuel, like make it so
that you'll see like
actually destroying
trail
it does
from
anything.
damaged external fuel tanks.
Oh, like destroying the fuel tank?
Yeah,
we couldn't get it working.
Like, will it like, you know, I don't know, like knock out the engine?
Kind
of like it does with the radiator.
That's not gonna be good.
Yeah, I know what you're going for. Oh no, like damage to the transmission or something.
Is only coming to the Hungarian line in the Italian tech tree because it is the first actual nation to deploy them right now. Of course, it was developed by Rheinmetall in Germany, but the German army has not used it, or at least yet. Hence why it's not yet coming to
They haven't
Germany.
used the Class 3P either.
The stats,
Crazy.
by the way, very nice camo, I like this.
How about we stop?
Yeah,
how about we stop?
You have the
like
30mm
trying to justify these things. Just say you're adding it because it looks
Just
cool.
say that there's a double standard.
Yeah,
say there's a double standard. And not
say you're
everything
adding
has
it
to go.
because it's nice.
To a laser warning receiver and a laser range finder, which you can use in combination with the A-head ammo to destroy enemy
wonder
aircraft
people
and
think
helicopters.
there's like rhyme or
You have
reason
access
to
to the
these
Spike
things.
LR2. This was featured on a previous
just
Italian
isn't.
IFV as well. This is a fire and forget ATGM. Let me quickly showcase it to you actually.
Well, it's the Spike, isn't it?
Which means
we already
you
have the Spike.
can engage
This is a different version.
Oh, is it?
So at that range,
This is the LR2. The one on the Freccia is the MR.
Lock to different targets,
MR2, I think
fire
it's
it
called.
off, and I don't have to control the
normal
input of the
MR.
missile
I
at
don't know
all.
what's the difference,
This
like
does bring
medium range,
benefits
long
and
range.
drawbacks.
Apart from
Benefit
that,
of this,
nothing.
of course, that you don't need to maintain line of sight. You can quickly fire off a missile at longer ranges and pop back behind cover. But that also means that you can't control the exact impact point of the missile, which means it can sometimes not.
Yeah, the good old JPZ as well.
You also
Another one.
have
Very much
access
German
to a active protection system. It is not quite ready yet, so I can't showcase it.
Forgot we're
but
in
it will have a working
1938,
active protection
39,
system
where
once it comes to the game,
Germany
which means you
assumes the
will
same thing.
be mostly immune once you have charges against
You're a
ATGMs
Germanic race, man.
and rockets and all the good stuff. The reverse speed is quite good. Mobility in general is very good on this vehicle, you can't really complain. Protection, I believe, is not quite as strong as on the Puma, but you should still be able to resist most autocannons up to a
I think the
certain
main
caliber.
thing is that if your turret is out,
You have a
like,
lot
you
of
can
empty
die.
space in
Whereas
the
in
X-ray.
the standard Puma,
In fact, the entire back half
You're
of the
right.
X-ray
Yeah,
is
look at that one.
empty.
Yeah, they're
If
after.
you're
I
going to
thought
shoot
it was
this
gonna
thing,
be way
shoot
more
for-
like the
shoot from
Puma.
the turret. That's where the two crew are.
I see.
Otherwise, you may not have a great time with APFSDS. And I can also quickly show
like whenever you see this thing's
the
turret,
overheating
it's
effect
just
on
gonna.
the autocannon
people are
as
just gonna
well,
laser
given that
it.
this thing can fire continuously.
But it's good. Like you can
It
have.
takes a while,
You can have all of these things have everything right.
but you can now start to see it heating up. There we go. Most noticeable from the underside where the barrel is exposed. And this will also apply to SPAA, like for example the Kugelblitz, the Verbal Wind. Those will all also have a visual effect for the overheating barrels. Pretty nice. Okay. As for thermals, I mentioned before, third-gen thermals, very good. All good. All right. Let's move on then to
so
what do we have next?
It's basically a Puma with different
Small premium brand
munitions
for
and,
China.
you know,
Small
slightly
premium
less
brand.
survivability.
This
so
is
higher
the
on
M41A3. It's a
on
bulldog
the-
at
what it
5
can
Some
do.
ups and some downs.
May seem a bit disconcerting to
I'm
start
down-
with,
I'm
but
down
it doesn't
with
get
that,
Sabo.
I'm down
Which I think, for me at least, is really
There
good.
you go.
because
It was that
They
way.
don't give it
Like
a
a-
Sabo.
It only has the AP. Yeah.
So having this at 5.0, you can use it in a lot more lineups. It's going to be
Why
pretty good.
though?
Like premium light tanks are always good picks in general.
Why have they
Nice
just
aesthetics
decided
going on
this
there,
thing
you've got
has
a
to
little,
be like
netting.
this? By the way, the Hellcat
yeah, and it's
is
not really too much to
5.7.
say. It's a
So
standard
they're saying
bulldog
that the
you're used
Bulldog
to,
without
Sabo.
APDS is
Mostly.
2 BR brackets lower than a Hellcat.
Yeah, I mean, I love
Goddamn.
the Bulldog. It's one of my favorite
That's rough.
vehicles, and even though it doesn't have Sabo, like at 5.0, you don't necessarily need
Definitely
it.
Yeah, especially with the
interesting
penetration, it's actually very
choice.
good.
Yeah, like I almost
Just a
think this is
weird
better
addition.
because you're
I don't
not
know.
like kind of
Just odd.
like gimped by the BR by
Especially
being so high up because you don't
especially
really
after
need
making
to
this whole
use Sabo
song and
anyway. Like,
dance
you're
about not
fighting
having
opponents that
certain
are
vehicles of
require
certain
it.
eras at certain BRs.
This is going to be a really
Well, yeah, but you know that was it's the one that we always smoke because it's a narrative.
For
That,
the tech tree,
Well,
we also
the
have
Gaijin
anyway,
literally
yeah,
said
In
it.
fact, it's
Like,
called
they
an
literally
yeah, that's
said
only
it.
because they're pandering to it.
Yeah, I know. It's just
This
ridiculous.
has a 125mm cannon with APFSDS and HEVT. With access to the
Yeah, you see, it has both of
125
them. So
shell
this
with
one is gonna be.
577mm
I don't expect
of
this thing to stay
penetration.
up to now.
You also
No.
have a HEVT shell, which
Yes,
can
I'll go
in
high.
theory be used against aircrafts. However, because it has such bad vertical values of only -6 degrees to +14 degrees, you are going to struggle a bit at getting your gun high enough to engage air targets with it. You have a laser warning receiver as well as a laser rangefinder. You have thermals, which are pretty good. And you have a dozer blade for digging yourself some trenches. And I have to say, I absolutely love the wear pattern on this particular camouflage.
Yeah, it's the thing about, we were talking about this earlier, like I had like a breakdown trying to work out like if the camo slider was different than it was, but like it isn't. It's just that this version in particular, it has more wear on it, and it looks great. I really like that, it gives it kind of more personality.
It will sit right in between the C11 and the WZ-1001 in the tech tree. So, prepare.
I don't know.
Alright, next up we also have a new helicopter, the Bell OH-58D, also known as the Kiowa.
Hellfire
This is an American helicopter, which is going to be
also featured in the American
tech tree, as well as here in the Chinese one. This is a pretty light helicopter, which does have the advantage of the gunner camera being right at the top, which means you can actually survey an area whilst keeping the rest of your helicopter hidden behind a hill, with excellent thermals as well. And you have access to a few options, most importantly, the Hellfire 2 missile with up to 4. You also have access to laser-guided rockets.
What is that? Is that a new image for the gun?
Yeah, it looks so weird. I think it's a new one. It looks kind of weird.
Alright, next up we have sadly nothing quite to show for Japan just yet. But we have stuff for the UK, starting off with the new Indian tank, the Bhishma. This is an Indian export variant of the Russian T-90 with some added armor and a very impressive added plow here at the front.
Woo!
It features improved armor, it features
just worse.
very good thermals, which is
nice.
a rarity for Russian tanks, as well as 10 gems and APF-SDS. However, it doesn't quite get the top 3BM60 shell that the T98 does get on the US.
So it doesn't have the 60 nor the 46?
Which is still a good shell in its own right, but you are going
then it should be 210.
Some of the heavier armor.
If you want to follow like the line we have right now, it should be a 10-3.
The 10 gem should be able to help out with that somewhat.
I thought it had the 46.
I apologize. Upgrade in terms of thermals.
They're just saying that British players once again are too powerful.
Sorry. This one is also a squadron vehicle, by the way.
We have to be artificially nerfed
you can
again.
Get it concurrently.
yeah, that's what definitely.
Research, even if you research any other tree.
Pretty nice.
Next up, we have a aircraft as well in the tech tree.
You're not allowed to line up.
Quite a brief one, the Seafarrier FRS-1E, the early version. So we have the squadron vehicle version and this one. They are very similar. They are functionally identical. It's just that this one can carry slightly less weaponry. So I'll show you here. This is the tech tree version.
So it's just
the high BR.
This is so weird.
Squadron version, so you can carry more missiles.
Why wasn't this one the squadron vehicle?
But it's nice having this here. The Harriers, of course, really
this is in the standard
for ground BCAS because they can land the heli airfields and get the air spawn. Pretty good.
It's not that
so
much of a
trade. Instead of 4. Is that the different?
Spitfires.
Lower VR as well.
The early Spitfires, mind. I think the Mark 1, 2, and 5.
At least now.
Got a new cockpit. And I really like this.
Hey, it's your voice.
That's pretty cool. Random, but always appreciated.
So if you're like playing the early ones, especially in Sim, nicely detailed.
No idea where that mosquito is.
Really nice. I love stuff like that. It's great.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, not really too much to show. Just a new cockpit. I think the early versions have it. I assume the later ones will later as well. Nice. I like this.
Now let's move on to Russia. They also get access to a 2S one, just as the Hungarians do. We already showed it once, so there's not really a need to mention too much about it. They are very similar. They have, however, a new MiG-29, and I want to show you something here real quick.
Here we go.
Yeah. R-73 missile. Recently featured on the event SU-25BM. But now on a much more capable platform. The MiG-29
after being told 2 weeks ago that it wasn't, that the standard MiG-29 was powerful enough.
A bit of fun here.
It's the data, man. It's the data.
This is arcade mode, just to
just remember, everybody never lies.
If you're
also the company people.
I'm amazed that this stream is happening because I was told yesterday that it wouldn't happen.
Spamming the hell out of the enemy with a barrage of
missiles. Have a pretty good track record.
This is going to be your plane. The R-73 is a thrust vectoring missile, which means it is extremely maneuverable and
when people talk about double standards from the company, they should look at the mirror when they take opinions about these people.
Yep. the missile goes.
Yeah, I don't have quite the range there. Let's go.
Prepare for all of the dumbass YouTubers say like, oh my god, guys,
And you're like
this
in a
missile is
standard lobby right
insane."
now.
Once again, like and subscribe.
Now, let's be a bit realistic. This missile can still be flared. It is balanced that way. So against attentive enemies, it probably won't be able to get a 6-tuple multi-kill. But it is a very, very capable missile on a very, very capable platform. This MiG-29 SMT also has an upgraded RWR, which, of course, since we are playing against AR right now, is not shown. But let's quickly go back into the hangar and show you some of the other stuff.
That's fair.
This is an upgrade in MiG-29. As I showed, it has access to 6 R-73 missiles with the HMD, which means you can just fly in one direction and point your mouse at the plane that you want to lock, allowing you to engage multiple enemies in very quick succession.
Yeah, the new S16
You also
has
have
that
access
too.
to a new long-range missile, the R27ET.
Don't
You
get
had
us
the
stuck into his
R27ER
planes,
already
man.
present
Don't
on
get
the
stuck into
previous
his planes.
MiG-29. This
We were
is the
doing-
same
we were
missile,
doing
but
well.
with a heat
we were
seeker
doing so
instead
well.
of a radar.
Money.
targeting system,
Money.
Which you can use
Yeah,
at
that's
long
the
range,
thing.
so I'm going to let you look at
Orders
the
are
stats real
orders,
quick.
Orders are
And
orders.
you also have access to some CAS options. Sadly, no laser-guided missiles or bombs, but you do have the TV-guided bombs and the TV-guided KH-29.
Okay.
These are still very useful in daytime. They can fire and forget, but they will
What
have
about the drag
problems
bombs?
with
They're
locking onto targets in dim lighting conditions. But this does allow you to use this plane both in air-to-air combat and in air-to-ground combat.
Nah, at the end of the day,
next
even
up
if
we
it
have
is
also
bureaucracy
a
SK,
tank.
it's still a lie. Like,
Yeah,
don't give
me
these,
too,
don't give
Bureaucracy.
don't
Basically,
give these guys,
T55
don't give these
with
guys
a flamethrower
any
on the side there.
thing.
Not really too much else to
It's
say
like,
about
once
it.
again,
anyway.
relativizing the
It's
issue.
pretty nice.
Why
I
are you
think,
giving
like,
them freeze?
for me personally,
Why are you
I
giving
love
them
this
freeze?
song.
But this is a consistent issue.
It's just
Always have to do that.
It's a
Sorry.
consistent issue.
I love premiums like this because they're
It's
not really
bureaucracy.
locking anything
Like,
in terms of
if
like
that
playstyle.
is-
Like you can
if that
just
is the
play
issue,
the
then
regular
it's been
TV5
the
and
same
get
issue for
basically the
3
same
years.
thing.
So,
But the
yeah,
premium
at
just
least.
lets you do a slightly additional thing on
Government
top of
level
what you can already
bureaucracy,
do
that's
that's
like
very
this. You're just
situational.
getting-
And I think
If
in
you
terms
just
of
keep getting light up
making
your face and it's like,
premiums,
oh,
that's,
it's okay because
ideal
it's these
for me.
dumbasses.
So yeah, there's not really too much to say. It's the standard kind of flamethrower thing. It's actually got a fair bit of protection.
I don't
think
think
on
this thing got the APFS.
so you can probably like
did it?
absorb a couple of
I
weird
don't
shells
think
coming
so.
in from
Maybe
there.
that's gonna be
But
the reason to give
yeah,
it
it's a nice little
for now.
premium little side grade, I guess, in a way. It doesn't really lock anything out. It's not worse in any way. It just offers
You
another
want to get a bit more of a
additional thing,
difference from the
which is nice.
Sadly, though, I don't
from the
think
Bastion,
flamethrower is going to be
because if
quite
not,
as
you're gonna
useful
get
as the
one in A3,
Crocodile.
one in
I
A7,
don't
so
think
it's
it's
gonna be
many
much of a
open top
Yeah,
vehicles.
that's
I do wonder if the flamethrower could burn decorations off.
It should be able to, if machine guns can.
Probably. Investigate when the server's open. Yeah, we also have ship chan we can
Oh, yeah, I
change.
should mention, by the way, there is a possibility of a dev server opening today. We are still working on it, so there's a chance it won't open today. But if all goes according to plan, it may open today or during the weekend, or if things go wrong, next weekend. But the point is, dev server very soon. You can download the server right now. I think the preload should already be up, so you can be prepared for when it opens to the public.
It's the Marat.
We have boot. So these new run of premium
pre-order.
battleships are they're
Pre-order.
similar
Buy it now.
to original
You get a
Tetri versions.
flag.
This version is
You want a flag?
basically an analog of this one, which I will not
You get
even
a
try
flag.
to pronounce.
Camel.
But
The
basically
Fortress
this has a
Camel.
different array of anti-air and less crew, which puts it at a lower BR. Of course, there's heaps of differences with ships. They're giant.
No,
and
it
there's
gets
so
put
many
in a
different
lower
aspects to it,
BR
so it's best to
because
check it out
it's the
yourself when you
premium.
can have a look on the dev server.
not doing
I do
it.
like
Are
the
you
kind
planning
of the
something?
extra turrets on
I'm
the
not
turrets
doing
here. It reminds me of when you draw like tanks and
Is
ships
this
as a kid and
bureaucracy
you
as
just keep
well? That's
adding
the
extra
new one.
stuff on
This is
it.
bureaucracy.
So it gives me the same vibe. So I like this. I mean, I always thought that these
Is the
ships
Politburo telling them to say all
they
of this
just
crap?
have a really cool look for me. I'm not sure what it is about it, but I like the tower and like the
The
curved
bureaucrat Canadian.
smoke funnel. And they're good.
No, this one was
It's
built.
got a cool skin as well. If you get
Pretty
the
good.
pack before
This
it
one
comes.
was
Brick
built,
house.
dude.
Brick house. Very good.
All right, let's move on to Germany. We have a new helicopter,
go.
which I actually forgot to mention also on the Russian side. The Magnificent 8, the MI8 is coming to the game, both for the
Nice.
Germans as a German
So look at that.
Democratic
One of them
Republic
has the phalanges,
as
the
well
other one
as
has the
for the
Malutka.
USSR in forms of the MI8 TV.
Yeah, there you go.
This is a relatively low battle rating helicopter, which however has a lot of hard points. Let me show you. what you can do with this system. You have access to up to 6 ATGMs. They are, however, rather mediocre with only 3 kilometer range on the German version.
It's the one on the
USSR
MI4,
version
right?
gets the Falanga with 4 kilometers of range.
No, the MI4
You
has
also
the
have access
Falangas.
to parachute bombs, regular bombs.
The only chopper that
bombs,
had the Malyutka back in the old days was the French one, the Romanian French one. And it was a different version of the Malyutka. It was like an upgraded version.
Slight caveat that this thing is absolutely enormous. It is huge. It is a massive.
Big jump.
You may actually know this helicopter from the crash at Chernobyl. This is one of the helicopters that crashed into the crane and sadly went into the reactor. Yeah, it is a big boy.
That's quite an example, but it is true.
Which means if you do face ground-to-air missiles,
I feel MI8s have been used in other areas.
It is a bit of a big gunship with very little survivability in terms of being able to evade fire.
Looks so cool, though.
Well, it's a transport helicopter they attached weapons to. It's like it's just like the Hueys, right?
Which
So
is a little bit
it's gonna
longer range,
be a bit
which allows you to stay a little bit further away from
if it has a superiority
but
against
at a high
6
bash rating
kills.
as well, where you will be able to face.
But you still have like a 3 or 4 kilometer missile depending on the version.
Also for Germans, we have a new Leopard after a fair few years, really. The Leopard 2 PSO.
If you don't count the
PSO
event
stands for
vehicles,
Peace
sure.
Support Operation.
Or the ones
this
added
was
to
a
Sweden,
technical
or the
demonstration, I
ones
believe,
added to
based on the
anybody
Leopard 2A5.
This one gets a
which doesn't mean it
flag
does
in the
not
skin,
get
or do they
the
put that one
upgraded
up there?
cannon of
No, I
the
think
Leopard
it's in the
2A6.
skin.
This is the
Oh, shit, man.
L44 Rheinmetall cannon.
Pretty good.
You don't really lose out too much. It's about 30 millimeters of penetration on the APF SDS shell. You have access to the DM53 shell. Good thermals, good laser rangefinder. This also has some upgraded armor on the upper frontal plate and on the side skirts, most importantly. And much like the Leclerc we showed earlier, this is mostly intended to give you some additional protection against chemical munitions. It isn't necessarily going to make you any stronger
it's
against
extra weight.
APF-SDS, but against ETFS, you may have
Unless
a
it's
better
Russian,
chance of
then it's
surviving.
useful.
Showed those new modification animations. Yeah.
Oh, we have not. Good point. Yes, we have some new interface.
These are really cool, actually. I love these because some stuff has always been quite vague.
So, especially for new players who may not be entirely aware what all the modifications
Are they gonna do them for
we
each
have
nation,
added
though, or
some
are they
short
just the
videos
same
giving
one?
you exactly the information that you need. Kind
I
of like an
think they're the
RTX
same ones for everyone.
It basically is, yeah. That's a good way of
where
putting
if you
it.
don't have the modification installed, it's kind of gray and bland. And when you have the modification installed, it actually shows you a ghosting effect of exactly what it does. So for example, here, without the suspension installed, your gun sight bounces all over the place. With the modification installed, it is nice and steady.
Like a before and after.
Upgrades and transmission upgrades. You can see a little ghosting effect on the second video, where it shows you the difference in speed.
FPS, let's go.
You can check all these out yourselves on the upcoming dev server. It is very informative in case you don't know
cool.
exactly what all the modifications
nice.
do.
I like them.
And yeah, very nice.
Very nice.
All right. Oh, so one thing I should mention, by the way. This thing is heavy.
That's a large man.
67 tons of pure German mass. It does get an upgraded engine to help out with that, but mobility should still remain relatively the same just because it has so much added
it has an
weight.
upgraded engine?
Yeah, 1650.
Okay,
What's
next
that
up we
It's
have
an upgraded
also
engine.
a premium ship.
You're gonna be able to move pretty
So yes,
comfortably on
another
this
one for those of you who
Fuck
think
off.
painting ships is the same thing as a personality. We
Nassau.
have another
Hey, it's a
enjoyable boat
premium.
here to show you.
Nice.
It's pretty much very similar to the standard other Nassau class in the game. Anti-air is a bit
better
different,
by
but
any
this one does
chance?
have torpedoes. And I
Oh.
want to say that I think this is the oldest vehicle in the game now. This is 1910 modification. And I can't think of one that's different.
The
Like,
British
different one that's, one that's
1908.
earlier. I think this is
Fucking
the oldest
invincible.
vehicle in the game now.
I'm
Someone
pretty
can probably
sure.
correct
Am I
me
right
if I'm
about
wrong.
that? I might be wrong.
But yeah, I think so.
It got missing the bureaucracy,
On its own.
man. We need to
I
check
mean,
again.
very incidental thing, but yeah. So you've got basically a side grade to the standard version. A little less anti-air, I think, not by much, but a little bit less, and you have torpedoes, so it's a bit different.
The
What a
Dreadnoughts
premium
from
should
like
be, really, I think.
1906, but I've got a feeling they might be doing that
Alright,
First
so
World
next
War
up we have
modification
another
bullshit.
new map to show you, as well as a
Like,
new
I'd have
aircraft.
to actually
Yes, and
look
of
in
course
the
the debug
game
already for the
itself.
F-16C. let's have a gander and look at the new
Yeah,
map
exactly.
as well.
The Invincible's a 1916 mod, so it's
And
technically a
also show
1916
you, again, the upgraded RWR. Tom is going to bring out a jet with a radar. And we're going to see if it's going to be able to pick up what exactly it is. So the F-16C is an upgrade of the previous F-16 versions. It has
don't
a
get
better
stuck
engine.
in the fucking
it has
F-16s.
access to AIM-9L plus
Here we go,
AIM-7M.
baby. Oh look,
Most
it's the
importantly,
new
it has
map.
access to HMD,
Wow,
like
okay,
the
this is an
MiG-29
arcade
did,
map.
which means you can
The
fire
rocky
your
pillars.
missiles off a bore. It does sadly still only have 60 flares.
I wonder if they're gonna add a
Which is the
realistic
standard,
version
but
of this,
I would have
yeah, this
preferred
is
a little bit
definitely
more.
an arcade map.
And you also have access to laser-guided bombs and AGM-65Ds, the thermal vision versions, which are very, very, very good. This is going to be a great aircraft both for air-to-air combat, maybe not quite as strong as the MiG-29, the new one, the SMT, but with a very good CAS.
Is it usually that big?
Or hybrid role.
Yeah, it's when the rework one. It's the rework one.
and also
So
the advanced
now it shows constantly.
RWR.
You don't have to be in a specific angle or specific altitude.
So, you can see
Well,
on my
it's just
RWR on
massive.
the left-hand side.
Yeah, I guess that's why you have that
HRR, that
perception.
stands for Harrier.
Because now it's
Which
kind
is in
of...
fact what Tom is
You can
flying.
see like way more in your
That's
own
me.
plane, like in your chassis.
It's actually interesting it is able to identify radio signatures of planes that would technically be friendly to it.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense for the game. But yeah, it's I like this map. This area to your right reminds you of something in particular, doesn't it?
Final Fantasy 13.
That's
There's a
it,
section
yeah.
of the game where you have an enclosed step like that as well. There's some waterfalls over here. You have some real terrain as well you can play around with these big old canyons. Now, as far as I'm aware, this
not
one
like
is
in Grand
currently only
Canyon,
planned
please.
for a B, given that this is a Grand Strike version, but it may also appear in RB at some point, maybe. We'll see.
This is an
But
AP
it
map.
gives you a lot of
cool.
options for evading
appears so.
missiles. It reminded me a bit of City,
Yeah,
but with big rocks instead of buildings.
yeah, I thought the same thing.
Okay, I managed not to crash. I managed to break my flaps off. That is also beautiful.
It's the dev stream curse. Little things will just not work.
You can also hear beautiful Betty, yes, warning me that my air brake is on. There are a bunch of different things that she says. I'm not entirely sure what the full functions are. But
So
it
this
will
one was
run you off
inspired in
a
like Southeast
variety of things.
Asia, according to our dev.
Yeah,
blog.
that's what
It
it
is
is.
very nice.
Can she tell you that you're doing a good job?
Not yet, but I'm sure someone will make a sound mod for
That'd be
that.
nice, I think. Just some sort of reassurance as you're going along. That's a waffle.
You're going to
This
die.
does also get access
You're going
the
to die.
AIM-7M
You're
radar
dying.
missile.
You're dying.
Now, there were some versions of the Block 50 that did have access to that, like, for example, the Iranian Block 52. In this case, it
That's
is
not a
well,
Block
you know,
50
to make it a
then,
little bit more
is it?
competitive, I can quickly show
Don't
you.
I'm not
say
getting
that.
in. I'm not
Don't
getting
say
into it.
that.
I'm not getting. I'm not
That's
getting
doing
into
it,
it.
man.
Laser-guided
Doing
bombs.
it.
We're not
Man,
doing
these
it.
people
We're
are
not doing
hired.
it.
With the
We're not
AGM
doing
People
it.
are hired, man.
Yeah,
Which
we're
They
not
also
do
doing
with the
it.
targeting pod
God
is
damn.
very accurate.
Ugh.
You have access to incendiary bombs, parachute bombs, regular
Just
bombs,
shooting yourself in the foot.
AIM-7M
Yeah,
Sparrows, up to 6 AIM-9Ls.
Not doing
And of
it.
course, the real versions had access to more advanced Fox-3 missiles, like the AIM-120. Those will not come just yet.
Nah,
We
why
have
you-
not used it before in the JA.
He just went that way.
Fox-3 missiles will come at some point, but only when the game is ready. And for multiple
Stop
actors at the same
talking.
time.
You
They-
don't
they-
come
no,
to
they're
mention
never
it.
coming.
Upgrade for this vehicle
You
at
don't
some
come to
point in the
mention. Yeah,
future.
yeah, they're
For
never
now,
coming.
they're never
this is the weaponry.
They're just
you
not happening.
have.
Sorry.
This
And of course,
endless
also
fucking
we have
pandering.
the-
Another
did I show
things
the
that will
American
never
one
be said
already? No, I did
ever.
not. We have the American OH-58 Bell as well.
This
Which
endless
is
pandering.
just slightly different in the fact that it has access to
AIM-120?
some more
AIM-120?
gun pods.
Hammer?
Every
Hammer?
piece
Hammer?
always needs to be
Machine gun,
reassured, always needs to be like
which is kind
placated.
of useless.
Yeah, we also
But
do
you
have
also have a
Fox
big boy,
3s, don't we?
30mm
Isn't the Phoenix a
cannon
Fox
Yeah, the
which
3?
can
Phoenix, the
effectively
Phoenix, yeah.
engage IVs and
An activator,
SBA
yeah.
We have
if
two
you dare get
Phoenixes.
close enough
What's the pen on there?
to use them.
Never mind.
It doesn't,
Doesn't
show
matter.
the pen right now.
Hazram,
but it is
Hazram,
enough to go through
Hazram.
the TR-80s, through the engine decks of T-64s. all
AIM-120?
that good stuff.
AIM-120? Azrap? Just yeah.
Okay. And finally, we have
keep
some
screaming.
more boats.
And this one as well. We haven't.
Oh yeah, the Chaparral, true.
Very, very quick mention. So this is
Nice.
the same vehicle, but the American tree. It's a low BR 9.3, but does
Nice
not get
to
the
see
top
it.
missile, which is good because, well, America already has anti-air at that BR anyway, so it kind of makes sense to give it a
It's a
little
good
bit
design
different there.
choice,
Like
I
it
agree.
doesn't need
I agree for once.
another anti-air like
Do you
at that
take
exact
this
BR.
or
So
the
having it a bit
Sergeant
lower,
York? What do you think?
pretty good, I think. It's a nice
different roles, but most likely Sergeant York for most of them.
York.
I don't think they do have that different roles, to be honest.
Nice to see it. Apart from that, we have
max
some
range
more
is
boots.
6K, right?
So which I can show
you know that
briefly.
manpower, it's like fake range.
Yeah,
you're gonna be looking at like 2K anyways. So yeah, probably.
Is that correct?
Arkansas.
You're going to get a lot of angry comments.
Kansas.
Don't worry. Yeah, so this is America's premium option.
Go boom.
Pretty similar to, what is it, Wyoming?
We're definitely not
Wyoming
adding
class.
these in to make money.
Yeah, so again, like it's side grade really, it's what premium should be. They have some different anti-air options and that kind of thing. So best to take a look at all the details yourself.
Why would if I can just buy the Arkansas and get the flag of the state of
battleships
Arkansas?
especially, like what's going on there. That's sensory overload. But yeah,
and also 3000 G and 30 days
Texas,
of premium.
I won't not even try and talk about because the amount of people who are obsessed with the ship. Like I won't say anything. I know it's I know
the
it's
amount of people obsessed with the chip. How many do you think they are?
And that's all I
How
was
many do you think they are?
But still very pretty.
Whoa.
It's an aggressive looking.
At least
the masses rally.
At least
the masses rally around the Texas.
Still looking forward for the classic comments. I will start playing Naval when they add the bits back.
Now they're even giving you like premium battle chips and big chips.
Take some time to hopefully
They
be
don't
able
have
to
any
answer them.
excuse.
Keep in mind we can't answer every question, but we will try our best. Reminder, by the way, there is a chance of a dev server opening today to the public, so if you don't want to miss out on that, make sure you preload the data for that already, which should now be available. And let's have a quick look at the
these questions are useless
of the
anyways.
vehicles that we have shown today.
We're gonna hit.
Starting with the US.
Let's see.
You can find the Chaparral in between the M247 and the LAV-AD.
It is quite funny to
As
think
for
that the
the
Chaparral
Bell
was supposed to be
helicopter,
used in
it's
unison with
right
the
after the
M163.
Little Bird. Makes sense, it is a light helicopter.
Just as a general
The
idea.
F-16C will naturally be featured after the other two F-16s.
Oh
which
yeah,
have
they're
also
grouping
been
the
grouped, by the way.
A7. I forgot about that.
The
Nice.
USS Texas, yep,
Poor voice.
will be right here before the Arizona, and of course the Arkansas is a premium vehicle. For the German vehicles, the Leopard 2 PSO is going to be after the Leopard 2A5 and
That's
A6,
really
which have both been folded together.
That is really odd.
Well, I bet they're only doing that because it's a new vehicle. There's no way that thing is more effective than a 2A6.
Not by effectiveness. If anything, it's gonna be more beneficial for the player because you can the 2A6
Yeah, you get the better vehicle.
Is a premium vehicle. For
And
the
it's
USSR,
going to be
the
half
2S1 is going to be just before the 2S3M right here. The MI8 TV is also going to be a side grade. Sadly with no follow-up, but allows you to have a bit more firepower.
End of the line.
More in the future.
What do you even add after it? Like other MI8?
Another MI8.
And the 255, of course, and the Murat are premium vehicles. For Great Britain, the T90 Bishma is a squadron vehicle. You can research it independently of any regular tech research. The Harrier FRS is going to be before the Phantom FG1, not in the Harrier line. Keep that in mind.
Seems weird. Well, it's a naval vehicle, I
For
suppose.
China, the MBT 2000 is going to be in between the CM11 and the WZ 1001.
At least the CM11 is not gonna be end of the line, man.
Yeah, thank God. They've realized it's an awful
we have
idea.
now the Hungarian subtree.
Took them
There's
a
a
few
lot
years,
going
but
on
we
here.
got
I'm
there.
going to slowly
5 years.
slowly go
5
through
years.
so I can have a look. It's all really condensed into its own line, except for some of the SPAA, just to help out flesh out the
It's gonna be a pretty meaty subtree, man.
with the
They're in a lot of
K41 being
vehicles.
right at the end. For France, you got the AMX-10 at 7.3 in between the AU F1 and the AMX-50 and the Leclerc Azul naturally.
You think it'll go up in BR? I think
Leclerc
it's pretty powerful.
For Sweden, you have the small PVK-V4 right here at 3.7.
You can hit helicopters.
And the Vidar as a premium vehicle. And for Israel, Chaparral as the new top SPAA.
Yeah, woo, Macbeth, let's go.
Not after the Nets, but after the Nesher. Okay,
After the
so
Nesher.
Let's fucking go.
Questions maybe, or do you want to show that?
Sure, I mean, I can have this on the screen. Little boat. It's like a little,
It's a
little
chunky
chubby little
monkey.
minesweeper. I like, well, not
It
minesweeper,
has
it's a minesweeper.
288s on it and 237.
Yeah, I like it.
Well,
It looks like the gun at the front should be bigger. But yeah, I like it. I like
This
boats
one
like
really
this.
does.
I don't know why. I think I just like things
It
that
really
don't look
depends
like
if they
combat
make this
vehicles that
thing tanky
are
or
combat
not.
vehicles, you know what I mean?
Because
That doesn't
without
make sense,
that,
but
it's
yeah.
useless.
Another little
With
coastal
that,
boot for you.
Maybe not.
Chat is asking
I
if
can't
the
overpressure shit,
Puma
so.
will get spikes. Not yet.
I think it's probably more likely there'll be another version that has them.
Because you can add another one instead of just fucking over this vehicle.
The K41, of course, will.
It's one of the worst hindsights I've ever seen.
Hitting effect on some different IFVs. I can show it on the M163, which someone asked for.
Yeah. Let's just move everything. Let's just add everything to a single vehicle, and let's just not add anything else.
I think the effect right now is just for tanks. It's not for aircraft, I think, so far with the smoke effects and overheating and stuff. I think, anyway.
Does the Vidar get camo netting? I don't believe it does. Yeah, let's have a look. Oh, that looks nice.
That's cool.
The pivots.
Yep, all 6 barrels heat up as expected.
Smoky. Is like the ball evacuator stuff not in then? Because that was in the trailer.
Yeah.
They not got that yet?
They have barely fired any tank guns.
I believe you can.
I don't think they fired a single round. Oh no, the T90. I think it was
as you usually
in.
can. The Leopard 2 PSO, what kind of thermals does it have? It has Fergen thermals, very crisp.
Heat effect for the A10 maybe? I mean, I can try it.
Wow.
I'll have a look.
High resolution.
I don't believe I could
never seen before.
Are the MIM 72Cs all aspect?
Don't look at the 2PL. Don't look at the 2PL. don't look at Commander.
It doesn't appear so right now.
Don't look at the TAM 2C.
The
vehicle everyone just forgets
all
exists.
aspects.
I don't even know why.
The base missile is only rear aspect, so you can only engage
like the only thing that it has bad on it is the
upgraded missile. You can also engage aircraft coming towards you.
Feel bad for him, man.
Can you show the Israel F-16 loadout again? Yes, I can. There you go. You have access to IR missiles, no radar missiles, sadly, but laser guided bombs, drag shoot bombs, regular bombs. All in all, a decent mix for both CAS and air-to-air combat. Will the car be destructible by anything? Or things like fire and small MGs won't be able to destroy it? MGs currently at least can destroy the cars. We haven't tested out fire, but that is something that you will be able to test out yourself very soon.
Absolutely.
What do they mean by the cars?
Excuse me?
I said the cars.
The Puma IFV does not have spikes, no.
I don't know.
Do we want to see the questions? Let's see.
China does not currently have a new plane that we can show.
Where's Japan?
No, don't put him on the stream. Don't put him on the stream.
Dart is also not ready to be shown.
Don't put him on the stream.
Time to time
you get some funny characters.
They showed Japan on the Russian stream. They had a really cool
vehicle. Have a new HUD. Yes. So
check it out.
A few of the Russian helicopters have
the P-80.
upgraded HUD.
Pretty strong.
Show you in a test flight.
Yep,
which is going to be fun for the few people who do play simulator remote in helicopters or just like to fly around in
we're back again.
HUD view, in first-person view, but as you can see, a bit more info, a bit more realistic, a bit more immersive.
For such a good update, these ones have been
I don't believe the blade on the PSO can be taken off. It's always there.
Not great.
From what I understand.
At least currently.
Yep.
Maybe it wasn't planned to have them today.
So German nuclear
I don't know. Every BVD is massively unprepared. These guys are usually very professional on this stuff. And I don't know. They're saying some weird stuff, and they don't seem as on the ball this time.
You will have
it
to
kind
get
of
the new Russian MiG-29 SMT.
Don't know why.
Yep, and the M1A1HC is moved after the TTS M60.
Oh.
Can you show the proxy
TTS is no longer under the line.
Real quick, I can show you the stats.
The heavy common has to take one for the team, I guess.
Slower than the regular HE shell, which means it's going to be a bit hard to actually hit accurate with this.
You gotta make that TTS viable.
Gotta
get
people. Pretty good. What's the radius? 3 meters, I think.
Yes, trigger radius is 3 meters.
Huge.
It also needs to travel a minimum of 300 meters for it to be able to.
That's not gonna be great for killing planes.
The K-52, I believe it does have ejection animations,
3 meters?
But that's
is
not
that
new
good?
on this update.
Doesn't feel like a lot. The AUF1 has similar, and I couldn't.
That was already introduced in the last one.
I don't know much about those
Which
things.
fire rate and AP shells is USS Texas getting? Can you show that real quick?
Let's have a squiz.
I wonder. What are they going to have?
So let's take off.
Probably the same ones
K-52,
as
of course,
the other
is
vehicle with the
unique
same
in
guns,
being a
but maybe
helicopter
it'll be
that has an injection by essentially launching off the rotor blades and launching out the guys.
This was already
launching out the guys.
This was already here.
HE and APCBC.
Wow. I didn't see.
MBT 2000 reverse speed. I'm afraid to disappoint you. It's not going to be any better in that regard.
No!
The reverse speed for the
what? I thought that was the whole point of the transmission.
4.2
I think they got I think he got them mistaken.
Why is he saying no?
Because he's showing the T90.
This is
he was referring to the Alcalid.
Brother, wrong vehicle.
Not yet, no.
You can't.
You
cannot.
Well,
you cannot get wrong. Is it the Pakistani or Indian vehicle? You can't. You can't do that.
Oh shit!
You can't, man. That's one thing you just can't do. You can't.
Okay, this is war over the Kashmir.
Today, during this weekend,
it's time for the baseball bats and the chicken wire. Let's
go.
Soldiers, grab your pikes.
What we have shown today is just a small teaser.
We're in for the game.
There is more stuff coming in the update that we have not shown today, which we will be able to test out in the dev server.
Turns out Mike has claimed Kashmir for himself.
This is going to be
Pakistan loyalist.